Yo, what's good? So, if you hear any background noise in the background, just ignore it. But I'm back. Now, this is going to be the start of a new series that will span many years. But right now I'm just backtracking. So, this is going to be my movie list. So, from 2011 all the way to now, I will be reviewing every single movie that I've seen in each said year and the ranking, and just talking a little bit about the movie themselves, unless I have a review for it already, in which I would just say go watch the review for it. So at the end of this year, when I'm done seeing all the movies in 2025, I'll be making a 2025 movie list. Well, I already have the movie list, but I'll be recapping the movie list. You feel what I'm saying? You get it. So we're starting off with the years 2011 to 2019. Now, this was before I became a cinephile. I started in 2022. That's when I really went to the theater religiously, as I do now to this day. But these years were like me starting off, just seeing movies, And I will say some of these movies are pretty iconic. So I'm pretty lucky to be able to say that I got to see these on the big screen. So this doesn't have a ranking. This is just, I ordered it based on like the release date and when I saw it. Not that I have the exact release date off the top of my head, but you guys probably already know. So the first movie I ever saw in theaters was Cars 2. And I think it came out in 2011. Yeah, Cars 2 came out in 2011. That was the first movie I ever saw on the big screen. My boy Lightning McQueen. Now, I'm a big fan of the original Cars. I used to have it on DVD, and I would watch that shit 24/7. So being able to see Cars 2 on the big screen was amazing. And I'm pretty sure I saw it in Magic Johnson or whatever theater is in Harlem. I think that's where I saw it at. But yeah, man, Cars 2. It was essentially a Mater spy movie, and I love Cars 2. I get why it might not be certain people's cup of tea, but I personally like Cars 2. I like it better than Cars 3, but the first is still top dog. So yeah, Cars 2, first ever. Next up, we have The Avengers. I got to see The Avengers on the big screen. Now, this came out in 2013? No, 2012. 2012. So, I'm not about to do the math of how old I was, but just know I was in elementary school when I saw these. Elementary school to middle school, that's when I saw these. But The Avengers. Now, I haven't seen The Avengers in years. Like, I haven't sat down to watch it in a really long time. But I remember going to the theater with not really any expectation. I was a fan of Marvel. Like, I grew up on X-Men the animated series, X-Men Evolution, Wolverine and the X-Men, and also Spectacular Spider-Man, and that one other Spider-Man show. It was like a weird 3D Spider-Man show that I used to watch as well. So I was like familiar with Marvel, and also that Superhero Squad movie, or not movie, show, where all the Marvel characters were like chibi versions of themselves, and it was like a comedy. It was funny. It was a great show. But The Avengers. So the most memorable moment for me personally was when Hulk started slamming the shit out of Loki. When I was a kid, I found that shit absolutely hilarious. I thought that shit was peak comedy. I remember me just laughing out loud when that scene happened. So that was probably the most memorable scene for me. But overall, considering how things are with the MCU right now, I'm glad that I got to see this gem, this masterpiece, when it first came out on the big screen. So there's that. Next up, we have The Dark Knight Rises. I got to see The Dark Knight Rises on the big screen. Now, honestly, out of all the movies that I saw, like before I became a big movie guy, this is probably the one that I remember the least. But I know it did happen for sure, because my mom told me about it. This also came out in 2012. And Honestly, I had a little bit of a like short attention span back then, so that's why I probably don't remember it all that much. But I do know that this is the one with Bane, and I remember sitting down watching it. I just everything else is just like kind of blank, I guess. But The Dark Knight Rises, yeah, it was fine. I don't intend on rewatching it for real, but from what I remember, I don't think I liked it as a kid. But I did like the Dark Knight, which came out, a few years prior to that. I didn't get to see that in theaters, unfortunately. But yeah, the Dark Knight Rises. I don't have much to say about this one specifically because I deadass could not tell you anything about it because I don't remember what happens in the movie now. It's been years. But next up, we have Iron Man 3. Now, I remember going to the theater to see Iron Man 3. This came out in 2013. Me, my mom, and one of my friends, we went to see Iron Man 3, and that shit was peak. I know Iron Man 3 gets a lot of hate, but I personally love Iron Man 3. Just because of, I don't know, I guess it's because I got to see it on the big screen. But overall, I think Iron Man 3 is just funny. Like, I think it's a funny movie and a fun movie at that. I remember me and my friend laughing a lot throughout most of the scenes, and I just remember having a blast watching this movie. So there's that, and I'm definitely gonna rewatch Iron Man 3 because that shit was peak. So yeah, Iron Man 3, fire. And next up might be a shock to some, but it's Titanic. Now, I don't really know where this lines up in the timeline because I couldn't tell you. But I could tell you that I saw Titanic on the big screen. It was probably for one of the anniversaries. I couldn't tell you what year. I couldn't even tell you if it happened before these other movies that I already talked about. But I do remember that it happened around that time. So, yeah, somebody took me to see it. And as a kid, that was a little jarring. Mainly because I wasn't expecting Kate Winslet to get butt booty naked in the movie. You feel what I'm saying? So, like, when that shit happened, I was like, whoa, what's happening? I ain't come here for this. I came here to see a ship sink. Why did I have a stroke saying that? I don't know. But I remember throughout the whole time me watching Titanic with the person I was with, I just kept looking to the side and asking them, when is it going to sink? When is the iceberg going to hit? When are things going to start happening? Because at the time I was like, I could give two shits about the whole, romance, the love shit between Jack and Rose. I couldn't care less. I was just like, when is this shit gonna pop off? That was my main objective. So when those scenes came up, considering that I was shocked because I'm like, isn't this movie PG? Because I didn't really know the ratings back then. So I was like, isn't this movie PG? Why is she naked? And then the car scene with them making out, I'm like, bro, should I be watching this right now? I don't know if I should be watching this. Like me as a kid, I was like, bro, this I'm definitely not gonna be talking about this movie with my mom when I get back. So there's that. But yeah, man, I got to see Titanic on the big screen, dude, and it was awesome. You feel me? And if they ever do like another anniversary, screening for it, I'll probably see it again. You know what I'm saying? Titanic, classic. Next up, we got Mr. Peabody and Sherman. This came out in 2014. Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Now, this movie, I remember really liking it. It's a kid's movie, obviously. And I was emotionally invested in the dog, Peabody. Peabody. Yeah. I remember not liking that one girl character. I don't know. I think she was blonde. I remember being so pissed at that girl. Like, I wanted to physically go into the movie and beat the shit out of that girl when I saw the movie. Because I think one of the scenes was, she was provoking Sherman, and then Sherman bit her, and then she was like, oh my god, he's a dog, he bit me. And then it caused a whole lot of things because, obviously Mr. Peabody was raising Sherman as a dog, so it was like, it made shit weird and complicated. So yeah, I had beef with that girl. She was, and I think she was like one of the main characters too. Like, whatever wild goose chase they went on in that movie, I can't specifically say what the movie was specifically about, But I just remember maybe it has something to do with time travel, like going back in the past. I remember some medieval shit, like them on a big ass, like like some pirate ship. I remember that. But yeah, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, it was a fun time. I can say that much. Next up is The Boss Baby. I remember this out of all the older movies. I feel like I remember this the clearest. This was in 2017, so I guess yeah, it was a pretty big gap. But I feel like that's pretty solid. Like I saw like one movie every year, up until 2014, and then I skipped 15 and 16. I guess nothing big came out that year, or maybe it did. Who knows? I remember being in middle school when that. Oh, I was in middle school in 2017. Holy shit. I was in 7th grade. Damn. Maybe. If this came out after the summertime, then I would be in 7th grade. But if it came out before, then I would be in 6th grade. If it came out in the summer, then it just yeah. The Boss Baby. Now I went to see this in that theater. If you're from New York, it's in the east side. It's like close to 86 in Lexington. I couldn't tell you the exact name of the theater, but from what I heard, it has bed bugs. I only went there once and never again. But in terms of The Boss Baby itself, I enjoy it. I'm pretty sure there's like a bunch of like spin-off shows on Netflix for The Boss Baby. But I remember really enjoying The Boss Baby, and I remember me having a conversation with my friend after the movie, talking about it, saying like, yeah, man, next movie I go to, you should come with me, you feel me? But yeah, The Boss Baby. Next up, the next movie I saw after Boss Baby was Coco, which was also in 2017. Now this, oh, by the way, little honorable mention, the Lego movie. I was supposed to see the Lego movie in theaters with my sister. Like me and her, we literally got in a cab and went to my main theater. The main theater that I go to now, the closest to my house now, but at the time I didn't live here. I lived in the east side. But at that time, we drove to my future main theater to see the Lego movie, but it turns out something weird happened with tickets, and we ended up not seeing it after taking a cab all the way over there to see it, which was a big-ass disappointment. I would have loved to have seen the Lego movie on the big screen, but it's fine. But this movie, Coco, this I did get to see in my main theater because at the time I was living here. So I saw this with my sister and my niece. It's about this Mexican kid on the Day of the Departed. Not Day of the Departed. I'm thinking of Lego Ninjago. My fault. The Day of the Dead. You know what I mean. That day that they celebrate. To respect their ancestors that died. The Hispanics. And he ends up going into like the spirit realm or some shit, and there's this like skeleton, and he ends up being the main villain. I remember enjoying it, but I remember spilling something on my pants and being really pissed about it. I think I spilled butter on my sweatpants, and I got tight. But yeah, this was the first time that I went to my now main theater to see Coco. So next up, we got the Black Panther. I got to see Black Panther in theaters, and this was with my mom in 2018. Now, Black Panther is a classic, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. And I thought Black Panther was great. Michael B. Jordan was in it, playing Killmonger, Black Panther himself. I just thought overall the movie was fire. And yeah, bro, I had a fun time with Black Panther. I saw it with my mom, and now me and her, she's like my main person I go with when it comes to the movies. So, 1 second, gotta be back. I am sorry, I have returned. I gotta pick up my niece soon from school. But yeah, Black Panther, solid time. Also in my main theater, had a blast. Now next up, these next few are really fire. The next movie I saw was Dragon Ball Super Broly. This came out also in 2018. I saw this at that, the Harlem Theater again, because like anime movies aren't typically in my two main theaters. They're usually in like the gay area. I'm sorry. They're usually in the special areas. So yeah, I had to see it. I saw it with my mom in Magic Johnson 25. I think that's what it's called. That Harlem Theater up there. And yeah, I loved it. I loved every second of it, bro. Seeing Goku, Vegeta scrap with Broly, seeing Broly be canonized, because I'm a huge fan of the original. You feel me? I remember watching it on Nicktoons back in the day when they was airing the Dragon Ball Z movies, and obviously Dragon Ball Z Kai on Nicktoons. That was fire. So seeing Broly, the canon version of Broly, was amazing. And the fact that this was my first ever Dragon Ball movie that I got to see on the big screen, it was so memorable. It was so memorable. There weren't a lot of people in the theater. There was like only a handful. I remember my mom liking it. Seeing Gogeta, you feel me? Also canonized, being canon, and him going Super Saiyan Blue, and Broly just going berserk, and Frieza and all his shit. The movie was peak. The movie was peak. The best Dragon Ball movie to date. Not gonna lie. So that's 2018. And now we come into 2019. 2019 was the last year that I saw movies before 2022, which was the start of me becoming a movie fan, and what's the next video is gonna be based on. So yeah, the first movie I saw in 2019 was Happy Death Day to You. I saw this with my mom and one of my homies, and this was the first horror movie that I saw in theaters. So yeah, I will say that it delivered. I enjoyed the first Happy Death Day, and Happy Death Day to You is just as good, if not better. So yeah, I remember like there was one scene in particular that me and my friend we got jump scared. I'm gonna keep it a stack. We got a little but. And I remember my mom laughing at us. She probably thought we were fucking bitches, but it's fine. But yeah, Happy Death Day to You, the first horror movie that I saw on the big screen. It was a good time. I remember laughing a lot. I remember my friend eating the movie up. So yeah, it was fun. And then next up we have Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. I got to see Hobbs and Shaw with my mom, and yeah, my mom, I remember my mom really enjoying it, and I really enjoyed it. I think, out of all the Fast and Furious movies, this is in a league of its own, because it's that good, bro. It's that good. It's still talked about to this day, Hobbs and Shaw, the iconic duo. You feel me? And yeah, I just remember having a fun time watching it, to be honest. So there's that. And then the next one is a little bit of a weird one, but it's Hustlers. Now, I wasn't going to see this movie, but my mom really wanted to see it because Jennifer Lopez was in it. So I was like, all right, we can go together. And if you don't know, that movie is a movie about strippers. So the whole experience was very weird and awkward for me. But luckily, I got through it. And yeah, Hustlers. Yeah. Next up, we have Joker. The 2019 Joker. Now, I did see the second one last year, dog shit, but I did enjoy the first one when it came out. I remember being a little disturbed by the first Joker, to be honest with you. I thought I felt like it wasn't what I was expecting. It was a very grounded, real story. And I thought it was just going to be some like cheesy, Joker origin story, but it wasn't. It was something much more serious and dark than I anticipated. So that was a pleasant surprise. And yeah, my mom enjoyed it too. So there's that. It's a shame that they already butchered the shit, but it's fine. Honestly, this didn't really need a sequel, to be honest with you. But yeah. And the last movie I saw in 2019 was Jumanji: The Next Level. I saw this with my friend and his little brother and his dad. And yeah, the Jumanji pardon me. Oh my God, I almost had a stroke. The Jumanji series, I'm not the biggest fan of it, like the newer ones. I'm a fan of the original, but like the newer ones with The Rock is like, eh. So going into this movie, I was like, I'm not really looking forward to this. But my friend was really excited for it. So like, I couldn't, I couldn't hate on him. So, I saw it. Did I like it? Not really. But it was fine. It was a all right movie, trying to be funny, but I didn't really find it funny. But yeah, that was the last movie I saw in 2019. And then from there on, I became a movie fan. So yeah, that's it. This is part 1, the 2011 through 2019 movies. The next video that I make will be my 2022 movie list, and that is, I have those ranked, obviously. And then after that, the 2023, then after that, 2024, and then at the end of this year, once I'm done seeing all the movies for this year, I'll do the 2025, and so on, until the end of time, until I get sick of going to the theater to see movies. But I doubt that will ever happen, at least not anytime soon. So there's that. But yeah, man, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'm the Hero Light Legend, Tyree Figueroa, signing out. Peace.